Hello?
Yes, Ruth, we can hear you.
You can hear me now, right?
Yes, yes.
Thanks, Kandupan. Yeah.
No problem. Once Prof comes, I will make him as host, he requested. So.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Hello. हेलो पढ़ने सब बताइए सर। हाँ बढ़िया बढ़िया बढ़िया। थैंक यू सर। और सर फर्स्ट ट्राई था वो और लग नहीं रहा था जो
Very good afternoon to all the students around the world, teachers and the experts for today. My name is Nikhil Chadak and I'm working as Assistant Professor in Ambedkar University, Delhi. So I'll be coordinating the session for today. With me, I have Dr. Jeet, Dr. Ramjeet and Dr. Bala Subramanian who will be coordinating with us for the smooth functioning of the session for today. Uh, and I would request all the students to kindly keep their audios and videos on mute mode so that we can have a smooth session. Otherwise, it creates a lot of disturbance in between whenever the session is going on. We will surely, rest assured, answer all your questions after the completion of the session. I guess it's already one. I would start with the introductions of the experts, and in between, we'll keep on admitting the students who are coming. Once again, very good afternoon to all the students around the world, teachers, and the experts for today. Good afternoon to my colleagues, Dr. Ramji, Dr. Jeet, Dr. Kandapan, who all are working so hard at the back end to make the web lecture series a great success. Topic for today, again, for your information, will be a very interesting one. That is, mice will rise, hospitality and event industry perspective. So, once again, I would repeat, it's my immense pleasure to tell you that we have received an overwhelming response till now for the initiative of organizing the web lecture series globally and bringing best of the thoughts and suggestions from various experts. Our main motto is to take the education to the next level and keep the students updated with the latest happenings in the field of tourism and hospitality. So it's a very good initiative taken by so many experts working at the back end, including Professor Manas. And we have also created a Facebook page to keep you abreast of all the latest developments from our side. Once again, I would request you to please keep your audios and videos on mute mode and let's have a smooth session, and your queries, rest assured, will be answered after the end of the session. Now, quickly, I'll start with the introductions of the experts today. We have with us Dr. Ruth Sabina Francis and Professor Parikshit Singh Manas. Dr. Sabina, she is the program director and lecturer in Taylor's University Faculty of Hospitality, Food and Leisure Management, Malaysia. She is a doctorate in hospitality and tourism, having 17 years of both industry and teaching. So in totality, she is having more than 17 years of experience. She was also awarded as a Young Woman Achiever in the field of hospitality for her teaching and learning practices for the year 2016 by the Center of Women Empowerment in India. And further, during her stint as housekeeper in Chennai, for she has trained many staff in the area of housekeeping. So she also have a very good expertise in the field of housekeeping management. She has published articles in well-known journals and in Scopus Index journals. So she is an active reviewer of various journals, namely E-Review of Tourism Research, a Scopus Index body. About Professor Parikshit Singh Manas, he's also a very regular expert and he's associated with us from past 5 lectures, and he's the we can say the backbone of organizing this particular international web lecture series. Professor Manas, he's the professor in the business school, University of Jammu, and the coordinator Global Understanding course, uh, run in collaboration with East Carolina University, United States. And he's also the director of University Business Incubation and Innovation Center, as well as President Institutional Innovation Council, University of Jammu. So he's handling so many, kind of responsibilities which he has been given by the University of Jammu. He's a visiting professor of many universities at national and international level. His research interests are tourism, recreation and hospitality management, marketing, sustainable and responsible tourism, brand management, post-conflict tourism, peace building strategies, and so on. So you can approach him as well whenever you have any queries pertaining to his expertise as well as other things if you would like to ask any further questions. Professor Manas won the Institute of Hospitality Education Research Award in 2016 at the European Council of Hotel, Restaurant and Institution Education Conference held at Budapest in 2016. He also received the prestigious Hungarian Faculty Research Fellow as well as he also won the Career Award for Best Young Teacher awarded by All India Council of Technical Education. He has written more than 20 to 25 books as well as more than 100 research papers. So without wasting any time, I would request Professor Manas to kindly initiate the session. Professor Manas.
Very good afternoon, Nikhil. Good afternoon to all the other coordinators present over here, Dr. Jeet and Dr. Ramjeet. My fellow expert, Dr. Ruth Sabina, a very warm welcome to you, although you have been listening to our lectures and being an active participant with our lectures. But it's nice to have you around today, and it will be a pleasure listening to you. All my fellow colleagues over here present today, all the students from various universities, especially from India and Malaysia. And I believe there are some other countries from where students are participating today. So very good afternoon to all of you. And in our series today, we have reached a level where we are going to have our 5th lecture today. So it's a very heartening feeling that a lot of speakers are coming forward, a lot of students are coming forward and are willing to coordinate and collaborate with us and have these lectures. And obviously our back-end manager, Dr. Kandappan, thanks a lot for your support. And he's been there, who's been coordinating with me regarding all the technical things and technology things. And we are trying to take it to the next level by taking it to Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And he's been working on those things. So Kandappan, a big thank you to you too. And now we'll start with our today's lecture. I'll start sharing my screen now. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'll try to switch off my video also so that it doesn't use much of the bandwidth and we are able to work on various things. But today, a very apt topic that's regarding mice. Obviously, expert is Ruth, and she's going to talk in detail about what we think about it and how things are going to progress over times. But for as far as my role is concerned for all these lectures, which is to facilitate the aspect and to make the students get accustomed to what it is all about, and just to set the tone for a few things that are going to come over and that we are going to look at. Obviously, we have been talking about tourism and hospitality for a long time now, and we have been thinking about that during COVID and after COVID. This is one of those things which is indeed going to be the one which is going to help the economies bring them back on track. So we have a huge amount of stakes on this, and we feel that MICE is going to be one of those things which is also going to have is going to play a very, very big role vis-a-vis this is concerned. So MICE, in the context of tourism industry, we always keep referring towards, it's an acronym for meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. And that's what it primarily refers towards and is looking at. A specialized niche group of people, when they intend to travel, when they intend to move from for certain set of meetings and conferences or exhibitions, come under MICE sort of a tourism. And before we started getting news about COVID, and the world over, the economy started facing the heat because of COVID, and the travel stopped at this moment, as we all are aware of, that more than 95% of travel is totally blocked and hospitality and tourism industry is in limbo. There were very, very bright projections for MICE, and there were very huge projections. As you can see that by 2025, it was projected that more than $1,439.3 billion industry it would be, and 2030 it would be more than 1.78 billion. So these are huge numbers which were going to support the economies around the globe. One of the very important factors why we lay so much stress in tourism industry on MICE is the fact that it directly benefits the entrepreneurs. That's the most important aspect. And you know, around the globe, especially in India, we have been constantly speaking about innovation. We have been constantly speaking about incubation. We have come up with schemes like Startup India and all those initiatives, which actually are towards entrepreneurs, so that they can come out with new things, new ideas, new processes, new approaches, which can revive the economies, which can rebuild the economies, and which can give different sort of solutions to the various problems that exist. And MICE is one of those things that where it directly benefits the entrepreneurs in the tourism sector. Obviously, MICE boosts the local economy in a big way, because you get a huge chunk of people, 40, 50, 60, 100, sometimes in 1,000 people to one station. If you have good fairs and exhibitions around, you might get people in thousands, where a particular economy is boosted in a big way. And the host city where it's usually held, obviously there's a lot of economic growth in that city, and also gives more touristic prominence to the city. So what we can say over here is that MICE is one of those things which actually helps those touristic cities to develop the other facets of tourism. For example, it could be historical tourism, it could be adventure tourism, it could be religious tourism. Through MICE, you can make people get accustomed to your city, and then you can always make them or want them or build up a kindle such type of ignition in them, so that they want to come back again. So that's something what it was. Coming to Asia Pacific region, obviously MICE was estimated to witness the highest growth between 2018 and 2025. Earlier, MICE was usually concentrated towards Europe and Americas, but it was projected that these 7 years from 2018 to 2025, the major portion of people or major amount of MICE tourism that's going to happen is going to happen in the Asia Pacific region. And that's India, Malaysia, and all these countries which are going to immensely benefit out of it. We are still optimistic. We are still hopeful of the fact that it will happen in this particular region, and it is going to happen, and it is going to grow. But unfortunately, we all are aware of the fact that COVID has had a huge amount of impact on the tourism, and especially on the various aspects of tourism, be it inbound, be it outbound, and MICE meetings. And more than, as I already had reiterated in my earlier aspects also, that more than 95% aspects or more than 95% amount of tourism is now shut. Can somebody stop scribbling on the share screen? I think somebody's scribbling on the share screen. It's happening accidentally, or I don't know, but kindly rub this off. Somebody has done this. Okay. Nikhil, can you see that these scribbles are visible to everyone?
Yes, it is
sir.
visible.
Yeah, if I request all the students, please stop sharing your screen and whiteboards and stop scribbling.
Nikhil, if you can see that the scribbling can be stopped.
Maybe Kandapan can stop the.
Yeah, Kandapan, you can.
Only host.
Okay.
He has set it to only host.
Yeah, Kandapan, maybe the screen sharing can only be done by the host. Kandapan, can you hear me?
Prof, you're the host now.
Okay. Okay. So, what the projections are coming up at this time is that till quarter one of 2021, it's going to be very, very low occupancies, and things are now going to improve in a very important way. in a very big way, sorry. So that's a very important aspect that we all need to keep in our mind. Now, the importance of MICE, the importance of tourism is one of those aspects, because if we look back into the history, whenever there have been economic crises around, tourism has been the one which has helped the industries to bounce back, to come back, and to see to it that these industries grow in a more positive manner, in a more productive manner. Tourism is one of those sectors, and MICE is one of those areas which is worth investing. And for long-term recovery, what I feel is that most of the countries and most of the economies should invest in MICE and in tourism, so that there's a long-term sustainable recovery of the economies around the globe. And one very important aspect that we have, which meetings or which interactions between various sections of people does, is that it helps in the growth of mental and physical health and well-being of the citizens of that particular, because your horizon widens when you meet more and more people around the globe. When people travel to your city, if you have some good things to show to them, you feel pride in the fact that people are coming over, looking at our historic places, looking at our cultural background, looking at the way things are being done, being built up. So this is in general tourism is a very important psychological impact also. So that's one of those things that we have. Some of the things that what I feel that economies or the countries around the globe should start strategizing on and start building on, which this COVID has taught us, is that more and more preference should be given to the local corporations, local tourism agencies or companies over multinational corporations. Because what happens is, if we talk about MICE tourism itself, these local companies, these local corporations are more indebted towards the local societies and the local economies, and they are more willing to, because that's the ecosystem in which they exist. So they are more willing to help their ecosystem survive. They are more willing to help their ecosystems get revived. MNCs usually look at the opportunities, and once they are able to take care of or get hold of all the opportunities that are visible in that area or available in that region, they might move out to greener pastures. But what we see is that these local corporations or local companies who need to remain in that particular ecosystem, they will try to give back to the society, give back to the economy, give back to the local entrepreneurs, so that everybody around them develops and they can grow together. So that's a very important aspect. And we feel that if we concentrate more at small to medium tourism enterprises, that's going to be the in thing. This is one of those strategies which I'm looking at in future, because I feel that the DMOs or the government organizations and ministries of tourism around the globe should concentrate more on small to medium tourism enterprises, try to build them up, see to it that they along with their growth, they also look at the growth of the region, growth of the city, growth of the districts, growth of that particular ecosystem, so that everybody actually is able to grow, and there is minimum amount of economic leakage. There is minimum amount of leakage of funds from that particular region to other places. Well, I strongly feel that MICE tourism has the potential to lead recovery, and it's going to be itself one of it's going to establish itself as one of the stronger parts of the national economies and build up a wider sustainable development agenda. Why it is going to grow? Because one, I feel that globalization is an unstoppable phenomenon. Now, we all something that we keep referring towards is that globalization is one of those things which is going to be there. People are going to move around. People are going to interact with other sectors and other group of people. We cannot. There's no logic in the fact that there is not going to be continuous economic growth. We live in societies. We live in an era where there actually is going to be continuous economic growth. So we cannot say that there is not going to be any economic growth. Yes, there are going to be some crests and troughs. So some ups and some downs are going to be there. But yes, this is going to be a continuous phenomenon. We can never think of the world where there is going to be not any economic growth or economic activity. And since the buzzword of our decade is consumerism, and people are looking at and people are thinking of growing. So what I feel is that this is going to be one of those things which is going to be very important. I was talking about Asia Pacific region, but I'm also I'm very hopeful that India is expected to benefit from MICE because of the fact that if you look at the present COVID scenario, also the way a country of 1.3 billion has handled this particular situation, that's worth appreciable. And countries, even bigger economies, developed economies like US and France and Spain, they are acknowledging and Canada are acknowledging the fact that how India has handled it. So what I feel is that India is going to be one of those, if the earlier projections are true to some extent of Asia Pacific region, India is going to benefit immensely from it. I have been constantly talking about flexibility. This is one of those things which I've talked about in my earlier lectures about flexibility in pricing, flexibility in ticketing, and all those aspects. So this is going to be the key. Now, there are many new things that we are learning during this during COVID scenario. We need to keep them with us if they are good for us. But if some of those things we feel that okay, were valid only till COVID scenario, and they will see many old things will start coming in, and we need to reinstate them. So we need to keep a watch on the fact that what were the old things or old good practices that we can carry forward that can help us. And many old things will also drop because we have been constantly talking about new normals. We have been constantly talking about a newer set of protocols that's going to come up. So these are some of the things but flexibility is going to be the key to things. These are some of the papers that I referred to while working on this thing. Stay home today for a safer travel tomorrow. Obviously, UNW, this hashtag is trending in a big way, and UNWTO is working on it. So I again express my gratitude to everyone. So now over to you, Ruth. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Parikshat. That was a beautiful setting up of stage for me. Good afternoon to one and all out here. Thank you to my mentor, Prof. Parikshat, for this beautiful opportunity, and I'm really honored to share the stage with you. Thank you to my friends from Ambedkar University, Delhi, and last but not least, my friend and colleague, Associate Professor Dr. Kandapan, who has been a catalyst to trigger this explosive idea. Yeah, thank you very much. And moving over, our lives have just zoomed out. We are caught up in Teams, or we're just on Hangouts, or we just meet on Google, or we just like to say namaste, right? And this is what is happening now. So with that, let me just start with my session. Okay, I hope all of you can see my screen. Yes, so this is, can you all see my screen?
Yeah, Ruth, it's visible.
Thank you, Prof. Yeah, this is something that all of us have been listening to post-pandemic, the pro-corona, the post-corona, what is happening now and what's going to happen. So this is something that is really daunting us over the past few months, and this will also be daunting us in the coming months. All right, so let's just look at what does MICE industry do. As Prof. Parikshat has already set the stage for us, what is MICE? It's an acronym for Meetings, Incentives, Conventions, and Exhibitions or Events. Do you think this will rise? Yes, it will definitely rise, because this is one of the key economic driver for any country. If this falls down, everything else will fall down. Because I'm just going to drive you all into 4 major concepts today. All right. And first of all, I'm going to talk about the affected industries. What are the industries that has been affected currently by this pandemic? All right. You all can see travel. Yes, you and I know the travel is definitely hit badly because of this pandemic. We cannot travel. None of them can travel. Now, Emirates have come out with a lot of new options, and they say that yes, hygiene sanitization is happening, and with all their passenger flights, their economy flights, as well as their people and all. Yes, they're trying to come up with all they can do possibly to bring back the business. Second thing is tourism. Tourism, we all know every place has come to a close now. It's a definite halt as of now. And next is hospitality. Yes, many hotels around the world have ceased operations. In Malaysia, if you ask me, for the next 2 months, many brand hotels, I'm talking about the bigger brands, the bigger players of the industry, have ceased operations. And they've laid off their staff, and they've laid off their employees, and they are sending them on voluntary. We cannot call them voluntary. They're sending them on forced annual leaves and all those things. So it's just closed very badly. And live sports. Live sports, yes. Can we watch any sports? Are there IPLs happening in India? No. Everything is come to an halt right now. And film industry, of course, they can't make any progress. And events and conferences. Everything is online nowadays. So these 6 industries are the feeder industries to the MICE industry, right? These are the feeder industries, and all of them have been affected very badly because of this COVID. So this is just kind of a background that I'm giving you here. And what are the thriving concepts? Yes, we all blame it on the COVID-19. What's happening and what is emerged out of this COVID-19? We have all heard about, maybe this is quite viral and it's been quite popular for the past few days in research area and the research focus. All of us have to accept that the world has changed forever. It's not going to be the same that you and I were in yesterday. It has changed forever. And what's going to come up, we do not know. What is ahead of us, we really do not know. But we know, or we should be able to know and strategize ourselves and position ourselves exactly to what we're expecting in the future. Second point is quick adaptation. We can't be rigid anymore. We can't be telling, yes, this is my set of norms. This is how I'm going to work. I cannot go out of the box. I cannot think out of the box. No, we cannot be saying that. The world is for the quick adapters now. And I think as academics, it's a major challenge for us to set the grounds for y'all that the future is there for y'all. So we just have to adapt immediately, be versatile in our thinking, be versatile in what we want to do, how we want to do. That is the call now. And thirdly, survival of the quickest. All of us are very familiar to survival of the fittest, but it's not that anymore. We have to be very quick. Whatever we do, whatever we say, we really have to be quick in how we have to adapt and how we have to operationalize, strategize our thinking, and how we can execute our thoughts. So survival of the quickest is the key. And Prof. Parikshat was also talking about flexibility. I really like the part there. Yes, which is what I'm going to talk about is forced entrepreneurship. Hotels in China, I'm talking about leading brands, star hotels. They have no choice. They have closed because of this pandemic. But you know what they've done? They have come up with delivery, food delivery, just like a Swiggy in India or a Grab in Malaysia. They've just come out with options that where they can go out and reach out to their own customers. Although it cannot maintain or they cannot compete the local providers, but they are forced to do something new. So like that, the education line, the education sectors are forced to come out with bite-sized modules so that everybody can take online, right? So this is what the pandemic has done to us, the thriving concepts. So that's a kind of a positive note for us. So we will need to know which part are we taking in out here, which is what we are going to look into. Where is it leading us to? So what has changed now? What has changed? There are two basic things that has definitely changed. I remember in Prof. Parikshat's first session, he was talking about domestic travel, pilgrimage travel will definitely thrive. Yes, that is what is going to thrive in the coming days. What's going to happen to business travel, which is where all of us are leaning on, which is where all of us are dependent on? Because without the business travel, without the travel being happening, there's no other feeder industry that is going to thrive. We really cannot survive. Hospitality cannot survive. The tourism industry cannot survive. The airline sector cannot survive. The MICE industry can definitely not survive. So what's going to happen? Recently, Global Business Travel Association, in their survey, which is conducted in April 2020 last year, they have about 9,800 participants in their organization, but they've received about 1,000 surveys. And these are the key findings just about the business travel. And all of their surveys indicated that business travel will recoup or will revive back in 2 to 3 months' time, which is a very good sign for all of us, right? All of us in this industry really need to look into how we can go back. And another survey that was conducted in Malaysia, consumer-wide survey that was conducted, results were out yesterday. They've also indicated that people would prefer domestic travel rather than business travel. But this is the concept that we will have to look into. So how we can optimize the business travel, and when business is going to thrive, how we can support our industries. This is what we're going to look into as well. And most of the companies have also agreed that 69% of staff has been laid off. You know, initially when this COVID-19 started to come to surface, US had already lost millions of people in the job market. They've already laid off so many people, and business was always on the declining stage. None of us could do anything, neither the companies do anything. Nobody can do anything. Everybody is in a state of a shock. And still now, many of the organizations, especially the SMEs, are still in a state of shock because the employees have been laid off and there's no manpower to run the organizations or to bring them back to the existence. And what has happened? 83% companies have started hosting virtual meetings. So this is the big boom for the MICE industry. 83 companies have already indicated that they have moved on to virtual meetings, which mean whether it's going to be a national level meeting or an international level meeting, whether it's going to be an internal meeting or an external meeting, internal stakeholders meeting or an external stakeholders meeting, they're all on virtual meetings. So this is something that we're all forced to be doing on. So they've all indicated that they've gone to virtual meetings. And this is something that we can look into, the MICE industry can look into to optimize their businesses. And 62% of the companies have indicated that they have switching on to new business strategies. The business models have all changed. This is what we saw in the beginning itself. The world has changed forever. So every company has to have their own backup plans. They have to come up with their own business strategies. They still cannot live in the old school. They cannot be saying, no, I want my customers to come to me. No, they have to start reaching out. Everything is come into the screen itself. You know, you and I are sitting in the comfort of our home and we can listen to so much webinars. There's just a Stogas board of webinars available for us, online courses available for us, so we can just learn from it. How do you think all this came to be possible? It's because people have adapted this paradigm shift in their thinking and have executed, and they were very quick in adapting. So this is the business travel as far as business travel is concerned. Okay, now let's look into the business models. When we look into business models, virtual events, that is what we are talking about today. You and I are also witnessing a virtual event today, right? Event. Yes, it's an event. What is so good about an event, a virtual event, right? It is all enabled. You can do a lot of wonders, especially when I teach my MICE management students. I talk about suppliers and buyers, and I have to give examples of how you can set up the stage for them, how you can bring in a supplier and match them with the buyer, how you can do that, how you can come up with a program and plan and execute an event properly, right? How do you do that? But now in virtual events, things can just happen like in a jiffy's time. You know, you can just plan something yesterday, get it done today, and get it executed tomorrow. That is how it has moved on, right? With AR and VR enabled exhibitions, things have really come up on the rise. Thanks to COVID, because it has helped us to move on and optimize a lot of the online revolution. Many people were thinking how we are going to use this, but now they've all started moving on and embracing technologies. So augmented reality and virtual realities will play a bigger role in the virtual events. You know, when we talk about enabled exhibitions, just imagine the amount of cost that needs to go in to bring about an event. The display companies have to come in, the billboards have to come in, the booths have to be set up, and all these have to come in, and you just have to visualize and prepare your profit and loss statement, prepare your budget accordingly. Can you come up with such a big cost? Can you host a big event of this sort? All this is just slashed out when you talk about a virtual event. Everything is just become so easy and adaptable for the event organizers. And second thing is online polling in conferences. This is something that you can just optimize in any of your events. You know, online polling is possible. Even for this conference, we can still start off with a polling point, you know, and this will help you to collect a lot of data while and as and when your event is happening. Usually in events, what happens? Once the event is done, you collect your feedback. Before the event is done, you're going to give them a registration form. But now everything can happen simultaneously. So you can get your online polling done in conferences or during your exhibitions, and you can get a lot of feedback that can keep coming in as and when your event is happening. And next is borderless events, right? This webinar is a classic example of it itself, right? Except for time factor, everything else is a doable thing. People can just come in from any part of the world. People can just come in and be a part of the webinar or the conference or an exhibition. You don't need to travel. You don't need to get your visa. You don't need to get your tickets booked in the flights. You don't need to get your hotels booked. Yes, although all those businesses have been affected very badly, but the positive side is your events have become borderless. Your events have become timeless, right? You just need to just take note of a common standard time. And then if you start posting your events, yes, it's going to be a big hit. All right, as an organizer, that's about your virtual events. As an organizer, what can you do about your events? How can you monetize virtual events? Because everything is about money. Business needs to thrive. If not, you cannot feed on your feeder companies. When it comes to an events company, you have your suppliers coming in, you have your buyers coming in, you have your intermediaries coming in, you have your various participants coming in, and some of your events are periodic basis. Year on year, you keep conducting those events, and at one point, even if you like it or don't like it, you cannot pull off. You still have to run those events. For example, if you talk about Malaysia's MASIOS, we call it the MASIOS, Malaysian Association of Conference and Exhibitions Association. They are the biggest economic provider for the nation's economy. They cannot sit quiet during this time. They have to come up with events because they have to sustain. Sustenance is a very important part here. They have to sustain their organization. They have to sustain their employees, at least the key employees. They have to sustain their suppliers and their buyers. So what do they do about it? So they try to monetize their virtual events. How can you monetize your virtual events? There are some 5 key points that I've highlighted here, and this is what many of the leading organizations in the MICE are doing as well. First of all, connect virtual attendees with sponsors. Now, look at our webinar itself. I can talk to you, you can talk to me, or you can chat with any of the people in the chat room itself. This is very important. The connection needs to happen and it needs to be immediate, right? And it needs to be live. Feedback needs to be given immediately. People just can't wait for anything to happen. So this is very possible in virtual events. I'm not too sure how it's going to happen during your actual events. Whenever we go for conferences, when is networking happening? Networking will happen only during coffee time or during your lunch time or during your gala dinner time or something of that sort. But when it comes to virtual events, networking can happen as and when the event is running. So connecting your virtual attendees with your sponsors is the key thing out here. Sponsors are looking for people, attendees are looking for sponsors, suppliers are looking for buyers, and buyers are looking for suppliers. And above all, the organizers need to organize your event and keep them going. Second thing is maximize sponsor recognition. In any event, when you have to recognize your sponsors, you will have to come up with huge billboards. You have to come up with your company's logos on top of the backdrop or in your conference back kit or in your digital displays or in your bulletin boards, or you tell them, okay, if you are going to sponsor this amount of money, when you prepare your sponsor package. When you sponsor this amount of money, yes, this is how I'm going to recognize your company. When you sponsor this kind of money, this is what you're going to be allocated as. But when it comes to virtual events, all this can happen just like magic. As the event is running, you can let the sponsors' logos and names keep scrolling like a banner at the bottom of your screen or at your event itself. So this will actually boost a lot of sponsors, because sponsors will look into who are the participants for your event. And that only attracts a lot of sponsors to be a part of your event. So second thing is maximize sponsor recognition. And thirdly, when we come to it, we talk about prove value with robust ROI reports. what is a business when you don't talk about return on investment? ROI is something very, very crucial out here. And when you are talking about virtual events, definitely ROI is a part of it, right? So how do you come up with robust reports? Yes, as I told you before, the feedback has to be immediate. Connection has to be live and dynamic, right? And that can happen when you have your virtual events happening. So with the polling options that's given in various many platforms that you can choose for your virtual events, every option has this polling option. That means you can come up with a lot of data. You can ask a lot of questions and you can collect the survey and you can start collecting, because even for coming for this webinar, all of us have to register first. And that is a big data that we're talking about, which will lead me to the next point as well. But coming back to this robust ROI reports, at one point of time, even before the event could end, you will be able to know how many people have actively participated, how many people have participated, how long they have participated, and how many people have given their consent to be a part of your upcoming event or the next event or the future events. So all this kind of events, your reports will give an idea and the confidence for the suppliers, the sponsors, as well as for the organizers to have much confidence in your virtual event. So that's a third point. Moving on to the gold mine of data. This is something that the virtual events have really supported and have contributed to us, gold mine of data. As I told you, we all registered before coming in for this webinar. So through that, you can come up with a lot of data surveys. A big data pool is accumulated through these virtual events, and the organizers, especially when they are looking for promoting their next event, they don't have to run here and there. They have it just right in front of their eyes because the data is there from the events that has been collected, right? The gold mine of data is a biggest source and backbone for monetizing virtual events. And lastly, it's digital libraries. What happens in digital libraries? You have a resource, a data pool, a big, huge resource of your digital libraries. Today, your webinar is on this topic. The event tomorrow is on another topic. An event in the future or in the next week is on another topic. So you have a digital library that is just created enormously and it just gets stacked on. And through that, you can actually plan and organize your future events. So your digital libraries is the key source for your virtual events, because without that, you really cannot survive in this virtual field. So you have to provide something to your stakeholders. If not, you really cannot survive in this industry. So these are the 5 points that will help the event organizers as well as the companies to monetize the virtual events. Okay, having said that, the business models we have seen, all right? So that's a third concept. Okay, so what is the confidence that you and I can provide as the MICE organizers or being part of the industry to our stakeholders? The confidence in uncertainty. That is something that we all have to look into, right? Just keep it real. Whatever it is going to be, just keep it real. Whether it's going to be your customers, your clients, your suppliers, or your buyers, just keep it real to them. Just tell them what is what. Do not fabricate any of the information that you have, because you will lose your confidence in that. Keep it real and tell them, hey, this is what is happening right now. This is how much I can deal with you. And this is the part that I can negotiate with. I cannot go on beyond that. That is how straight you can be and how real you can be. And at this point of time, you can also deal with a lot of local suppliers than looking in for international suppliers. Because for an event, you need suppliers both local and international. So when you're keeping it real and you're keeping it small, you are going to deal with real people. I mean, you're going to deal with local people and you're going to support them. Secondly, traveler tracker apps, just like how we track down the flights whenever we travel from one country to another country. We can track, and our family people can track, or our friends, our companies can track for us when we say that we are on board this flight. So like that, there are a lot of traveler tracker apps that has been embedded and it's available in the market. So when we are introducing this kind of events, when we are actually planning to come back to events industry or coming back to the business, hotels, tourist spots and the airline sector, as well as the events companies, should bring in this traveler tracker apps. This will gain a lot of confidence among your stakeholders. And the third one is agility, the tools, the insights to respond. We have to be very, very agile. The agility towards, this is what I was talking about, the quick adapters, the resilience that you have developed over the period of time. This will help you to be very agile and quickly you have to adapt which tool is going to best suit my organization, which tool is going to best suit my hotel model, which tool is just going to be very helpful to my organization, and the insights to respond. Now, things are very sensitive. You need to be very careful in what you say to your customers, in what you tell your stakeholders, in what you're going to tell to your sponsors as well. So they have to see something in visible. Now they have to see it for their as evidences. So you have to be very agile. Your tools have to be in place. The insights to respond have to be there. That means immediate response is very, very needed and highly appreciated. That is something that we will have to look into for this part of it. Yesterday, I was talking to a general manager from Ritz-Carlton in Bangkok. He was just telling me, because he is not from the normal hotel model, he is into the residences hotel. So he said that is the industry now. So they have the agility to fight back the crisis in this time of period. They say our residences is not affected because residences is home and their business is not definitely affected at all. So they have their tools in place. They have the insights to respond back to the people. So that is what we have to look into the uncertain times like this. And fourthly, leverage on social media. This is something, it can travel as fast as light nowadays. In the current era, if you say you're not part of the social media, then something is definitely or drastically wrong with you. So what we are going to say is you have to embrace the first customer that you have in your hotel, the first customer you have, your organizer, you're organizing an event for someone, the first buyer you have for your event industry, just get them to leverage it. Just let them blow it up on social media. This will definitely boost a lot of immunity for your organization. This will develop and bring in the confidence of the others all around you who are looking at your organization, and they will know, yes, they are thriving. Yes, they are striving hard to come back to business. And that comes as immediate witnesses because you have your clients talking about your event, you have your clients talking about your hotel, you have your clients talking about the travel in your airplanes, right? The airline sectors can come about it. So leverage on social media. Lastly, it's the shift share from competitors by offering incentives to your suppliers. Whether we like it or not, any business that we have lost has been gained by a competitor. But we can track it, we cannot track it. There are ways how we can monitor it. There are ways we really cannot monitor it, and it's out of control. But what you can do, what are the things that's in control for you is when you deal with your suppliers, when you cut your deals, when you strike your deals with your suppliers, you tell them, okay, I'm going to offer you incentives because from now on, brand marketing is not going to work. You have to pay for performances. That is how it's going to work. And you cannot simply say, I'm going to do marketing on a big scale. I'm going to market this way. This is how my marketing is going to be. They have to change their concept. That's what I told before as well. You have to relook into your business strategies. So now you really cannot rely on brand marketing, but rather you have to rely on marketing or pay for performances. So that is what you're actually trying to do here. You're trying to shift your shares from your competitors, but you're rather sharing it with your suppliers because you are supporting the suppliers and the suppliers are supporting you. Suppliers like the hotels, supplier like tourism organizations, supplier like airline sectors, suppliers like the immigration, the bureaus that's going to allow you various permits to bring in and import and export things for your exhibitions or anything of that sort. So that is where you are trying to strike deals with them and offer incentives that you've never thought about. You would have never thought about it. You will only tell them, okay, this is what is the commission that I'm going to get from you, and this is what is the commission I'm going to pay for you because of the business generated from you. But now you have to really think otherwise, how you're going to share your shifts, I mean your share, your profits with your suppliers as well as the buyers. So by doing these 5 things, you will definitely gain confidence in uncertain times as this. So these are the 4 key areas that I was talking about for showing as evidences for mice will rise. Okay, and as I told before, the webinars have been conducted because as academics, it's a major responsibility for us to set the stage, to impart this confidence among the young minds that the future is still rising. You still have a greater, greener landscape ahead of you. So keeping that in mind, what do you have? I tell you, hospitality market is growing globally. MICE industry is going to thrive. Why I'm going to say is because of this. China is really booming. 64 projects are on the rise now. You know, we all blame it on the China, but still they are really booming. 404 units of service apartments are going to come in. 298 key areas is what we refer to all the business spaces in a particular structure. We don't call it rooms, but we call it the key areas because they can either become restaurants, or they can either become bars, or they can either become your coffee shops, or they can also become your rooms. So it's the key. 298 key areas are going to come out with a Hilton property, and 284 key is going to come out from the DoubleTree by Hilton. You know, these are international brands that we're talking about. Next thing is Crown Group has acquired lands in Los Angeles. And guess what they're going to come up with? They are going to come up with 160 key luxury hotel. We're talking about luxury hotels in this era. Can they survive? We're talking about budget hotels. We're talking about smaller companies, MICE event companies. Can they survive? But luxury hotels are going to come into space now, right? So 319 units, serviced apartments are going to come in Los Angeles. The MICE industry is definitely going to be boosted up in times of this in the coming years. And okay, let's skip to Asia Pacific because Prof. Pariksha also mentioned about Asia Pacific's revenues in terms of MICE. Yes, what is going to happen with them? Definite yes, they are going to thrive. Hotels in Melbourne, hotels have been rebranded. Holiday Inn has been rebranded. Intercontinental Hotel in Hong Kong has been rebranded in Regent Hong Kong. New Zealand is thriving and they're coming up with a 255 key hotel by 4 Points by Sheraton, and 160 key hotel in Auckland, and 263 key break-free hotel in Christchurch. I know we all heard about Christchurch. Recently there was a bombing, but see what's happening there. Their business is booming. So all these kind of catastrophes can happen, but that is not the end of the world. Hospitality industry will definitely grow. And that is a major factor, feeder factor for the MICE industry. Recently, the Bureau International de Expositions, it's called as BIE. Usually they come up with expos and their expositions are very big. They have about 170 countries as their members, and this 170 countries is last year's report. They have as members as part of this BIE. And this year's expo was planned to be in Dubai. And Dubai is, all of us know, has already opened its doors for tourism. But although they have not opened it for all parts of the world, but the countries that is allowing people to exit and enter. And Dubai Expo has been postponed to next year, which means this is based on their survey that they conducted recently from all their 170 countries and the participants with them. None of them highlighted that, why don't we cancel it off? Why don't we call it off? There's no requirement for that. No, they have only said and participated and unanimously agreed that it can just be shifted to the following year. So this will definitely give a hope for all of us and for us that post-pandemic, the MICE industry will definitely thrive, and there's a lot of hope and opportunities for us out there, and especially for young talents who are going to come into the industry such as you. Thank you very much for the opportunity given, and there I end my sharing session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Thanks a lot. That
Prof.
was
Yeah.
very nice, and I think you very candidly and in detail explained the things about mice, and it must be a nice experience for the students. We move on to the next aspect. Nikhil, are the
Yeah.
questions ready? So
Yes.
I could see some of the students were asking questions over there. So maybe you
Yes,
can,
sir.
would you like to share the screen vis-a-vis
Yeah.
questions are concerned?
Yes, 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 sir.
Okay, Nikhil, go ahead. This is
So
for
the
our students present over here today. We have been getting, a lot of students have been entering around 10 minutes back or 15 minutes back. So they were late by 30 minutes to this lecture. So we request all of you to come on time because you miss the major parts of it. And at this moment, we are live on Facebook also. So you can go on to our FB page and see that Kandappan was working back end on it, and me and Kandappan, we worked on it, and now it's live on Facebook also. So from next time, we will most likely not allow latecomers because then it literally distracts us from the working. So moving on to the questions, Ruth, you can take a look at them. So would you like to take the first one?
Yes, Prof.
What would be the pandemic effect on international and domestic placement? Okay, so placements are back again. We have been talking about the placements, we have been working on the placements, and this is the favorite question of our students, and I think we should not avoid it. We should take it every time because
Exactly. Yeah.
my view will
True.
be also evolving, but I have a new speaker every time. So I would like your take on that, and then I'll give my evolving. Go ahead,
Okay.
Ruth.
Thank you, Prof. Yeah, as we have been saying, this is a very big effort put in by Prof. Parikshat and his team, and people have been. He's bringing in speakers every week. You know why he's doing all this? Just to impart the confidence that the future is still there for us, especially for the young talents. Placements will definitely open, and the part that I shared in the last part, the landscape ahead. Hotels are opening up, and I only share the Asia Pacific hotels. India is also booming. China is booming. So there is market, and there is people in need, in demand. We are talking about hotels. We do not have placements. Hotels are having a lot of opportunities back outside India, because India has a lot of opportunities, but the takers are many, but the opportunities are less. But when you talk outside India, the takers are few, opportunities are more. But we just need to relax it a bit right now. So this is the time for us to gain and equip ourselves on the other areas and aspects, like how you can boost up your CV. And you can just wait, and I'm sure in the coming years, your placements will definitely boost up, both domestically and internationally. It will definitely be on the rise. It's not going to decrease. Yes.
Indeed, Dr.
Thanks, Prof.
Ruth, and indeed, and I will further add to this this particular thing with an effect that obviously every time we come online and somebody is talking about placements, and I've always been speaking about that we are very hopeful about it. We are very optimistic about it. Today, if you were following my lecture, in one of the slides, I did show that globalization is an unstoppable process. So globalization is going to happen. Globalization is going to grow. And as globalization grows, I also linked it with one very important aspect, that was that wherever there is a crisis in an economy, tourism is the recovery mode. Tourism is the one which has is helped in recovery. So these are two very crucial points. They're spoken at different times, but if you link them up, recovery around the globe, vis-a-vis economies are concerned, is going to happen because of tourism, and globalization is always going to be there. Globalization I talked about the continuous economic growth, and I also talked about the consumerism aspect. So if you link all these things, and if you see this jigsaw puzzle, tourism has a major role to play. And what will tourism do if it does not have the major stakeholders? And major stakeholders are you folks, all those professionals who are getting tourism and hospitality degrees, who are experts in all that, all this. You are going to manage all these TMCs. Who's going to manage them? So just stay put, be hopeful, and stay strong. And as Ruth said, keep enhancing your qualifications. Why are we doing all these things? We are doing it for our students only. This is a confidence building measure. This is one of those CBMs that I have taken up. Jammu and Kashmir is known for CBMs. So a lot of CBMs come up in this particular region. So this is one of those confidence building measures which I'm taking up for my students. We are doing it. We're not getting any money or anything out of it, but we're just doing it because we want our brothers in hospitality and tourism industry to stay strong, to grow, and things will happen, things will grow. And I'm so optimistic of the fact that I'm not even waiting for the post-COVID period. I'm saying during COVID, these things are going to evolve. You'll see another 1.5 months down the road, things will start evolving. COVID will be there, but still things will start evolving. And see what happened yesterday in Spain. They have opened up their islands and they are starting working on all those things.
Yeah.
Things are going to move up. Be hopeful about it. And we have a very, very positive scenario to come. So another aspect vis-a-vis MICE is concerned, there's this one question which is taken up, which is, do physical meetings and conferences also part of MICE, or only virtual meetings and conferences? So the gentleman wants to ask whether physical meetings and conferences are also part of MICE or only virtual meetings and conferences. So Ruth, you'll go ahead.
Yeah, do physical meetings and conferences also part of MICE or only virtual meetings? Physical meetings and conferences are also part of MICE, definitely. Virtual meetings and conferences are just booming now, although virtual meetings have been there as a complementary session along with the physical meetings. So this is part of the MICE. And if you actually want to go and subscribe for meetings and conferences, for like I'm talking about international events and all, you'd still have to pay. And then what happens here is your subscription will be like based on the tickets or the levels that you want to be in. So that's where they generate the revenue for the MICE industry. So yes, both of it, the physical meetings, conferences, as well as the virtual meetings and conferences are part of the MICE industry itself. And exhibitions, that is what is thriving now. The virtual exhibitions are really thriving. Yes. Yeah.
And I see on the chat, Kandappan has given a new word. He said it is VMICE, so virtual mice. So he's come up
virtual
with
mice.
another
Maybe we call virtual mice. Yeah, he's fond of terminologies. Yes, VMICE, virtual mice.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll take one last question.
Prof, Parikshit, you want to take the second? Okay.
You want to take the second one? Okay. After effects of COVID
or
on mice.
Any other question?
No, go ahead. Take it.
Yeah. Okay. After effects of COVID on MICE tourism globally, yes, it will take a bit of time for them to bounce back, but the minute they get a chance, they're going to bounce back very globally, because every industry is waiting. You know, Dubai has already started to promote their tourism now. They're saying they're open up, and they're open for domestic travelers. They're open up for all their hotels are opening up. Emirates have also come up with all their facilities and what they've been doing. Hotels also on their side, they are playing their responsible part, telling that yes, sanitization is happening, hygiene aspects have been taken into control, and things have been put into place, ensuring that yes, people who are going to come in are definitely going to be safe and protected. So the minute they're given a chance, they're just waiting for the government orders globally. Once they get that, they're going to bounce back, and definitely they will recoup, but it will take a bit of time for the amount that they have lost, because we're not talking about small amounts, we're talking about billions that has been lost. So it will take a bit of time for them to recoup, but definitely they will bounce back and they will come out more gloriously than ever, because through the virtual conferences, they have gained a gold mine of data that they can have it in their pool. You know, they would have never imagined to have so much of data on their side, but through the virtual conferences, virtual meetings, or we call the VMICE, they have gained a lot of data, and they will definitely bounce back to business.
Yeah, indeed. And yesterday we also saw that Mall of Dubai, the biggest mall in Dubai, has also opened up, and things are coming up. I feel that obviously COVID is going to impact everything and has impacted everything. But it's the fact that how soon you come out of it, how resurgently you built yourself up, and how soon you remove the after effects of COVID. That's going to be very critical, and tourism is going to be one of those which is going to do it. We'll quickly take one more question, and then we'll have the wrap-up session.
Yes, Prof.
This is from Philippines.
Yes,
The question number 5, the new normal right now brings a lot of changes in MICE, especially in the Philippines, or maybe the global arena. How do we adopt MICE in terms of so much guidelines of the government? Yes, social distancing. First of all, Dr. Prank,
Yeah.
I usually don't talk about social distancing because socially we have to be together. We only talk about physical distancing.
Physical
These are tough
distancing.
times.
Yeah.
During tough times, we need our near and dear ones along with us. So that's why I'm not keeping any distance with my students, and we are having this virtual interface with them. So there's supposed to be no social distancing. I think governments have got it wrong by using the terminology social distancing. They should stress more upon the word physical distancing. You'll take it, Ruth, now?
Yes, thank you, Prof. Actually, the new normal has set in a lot of restrictions for many companies, especially with the MICE industry. So what the local industries in Malaysia have done is they have the self-trackers when they come in and they register for the events. They have the self-trackers. So when they come inside itself, this device will just quickly recognize you and just tell you yes or no, you can proceed or not. So once they come in, the spaces that they're going to provide for the seating arrangements, the social distancing is going to actually call as a physical distancing. You need to give space between the seats and these kind of smaller areas, aspects have been covered in managing this kind of MICE events. But again, it will definitely come back because we have to promote the guidelines, because when we do not respect the guidelines promoted by the government or implied by the government, we will lose out the confidence on our customers. So the smaller industries and the Malaysian MICE industry have played a very responsible role in adapting to this. So they have said they're going to use the bigger spaces if it's going to be a bigger event, although they don't expect to have bigger events happening now, but they're going to use bigger spaces to accommodate. Usually it used to be like 100 people or 200 space capacity, but now it's going to be a 500 room capacity. It's just going to be for 100 or 150 people. So this will restrict the terms of having the events basically. But again, you will have multiple events coming up in the same series, and it's all in the marketing. So pay for performances will have to be ensured when you're going to run events of this sort, and especially in this era. Yeah, I hope I've answered, Dr. Prime.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things, and obviously we have been again and again stressing on the fact that the similar amount of space is now going to be used by lesser number of people, and that's what is important. And the hotels are being asked to only take bookings up till 30% only. So only 30% occupancy is going to be somewhere over there. As I gave an example in my earlier lecture also, American Airlines has started removing the middle seats. So obviously
Middle
the number,
seats, yeah.
so the capacity of each aeroplane is going to decrease. So there's going to be a lot of flexible pricing going on, and obviously some price increase would also be there. Thank you, Ruth. For the students, the rest of the questions,
yes,
we'll answer them on our Facebook chat, and we'll post them up on my blog and everywhere. Dr. Jeet will now present the final concluding summary of the session. Dr. Jeet, over to you.
Hello, very warm good afternoon to everyone, and thank you, Parikshit sir, for giving me this honor. Let me share the slide where I have concluded the major points. I hope it's visible.
Yes, it is visible, Jeet.
Yes.
Fast way.
Okay, with that points, first of all, thank you to Professor Parikshit Manas, and also a very warm thank you to Professor Kandapan, because these two people are always there and also motivates the people from my generation and the people from the next generation. And today a special thanks to Dr. Ruth Sabina Francis from Taylor's University for that wonderful insight about the mice. Just I'll compile within 4 to 5 minutes. Just an information that I had spent 2 years while working in the mice industry when I was working with TUI Germany there at their daily office, and there definitely even I'm teaching mice in my classes to MBA students, and they are having a lot of queries that what will happen with the mice and all that. But this session definitely bring them kind of hope to them that mice is always there. Let me compile with that first, that Parikshit sir has given the presentation, and there I'll just term it at fast 5 points of him. First of all, he focus on that mice directly benefit the entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs in the present time and in the coming time, they are not job seekers, they are job providers. So that is why to boost the local economy, that is what's the challenge today. So entrepreneurs, MICE is giving the direct benefits to them. Next point is that MICE is not only confined to give the boost to only MICE sector, but also being a catalyst for the other behind the power forces for the other subsector growth. That is for the second point over here. Third point is that rather than to focus on the globalization, sir has already focused on that point that globalization we can't escape from, but yes, definitely it starts from the local ecosystem. We appreciate that we have to rebuild it, and then local ecosystem that it will be evolve, and then the economy will again come back over there because penny makes so many. So this is what the point number 3 is all about. Then we talking when the sir talk about the consumerism and the flexibility that will be the keys to just again boost up this situation specifically for the mice, and in the present scenario because of the steps that taken by the Indian government along with the citizens also. So India will be the new mice hub because of the new situation that is arising over there. Traffic of the mice from internationally definitely, specifically in the Asian regions, definitely moved to the India because comparatively till now, as people are so much observing the statistics of the COVID-19, so India is doing better in that case. With these points, next I've termed it as lucky 7 because Dr. Ruth has given lot of points over there, so it's not easy for me to compile in that, but still I done my best. First point that is what again the students from the MICE, they are also there. So modification in business models and travel, it is all about. It's not that we have to somehow follow the same old patterns and all that. And in that modification, Dr. Ruth has aptly given the presentation over there. Next point is that layoffs has impacted small and medium enterprises. That is obviously yes. And Dr. Ruth has given statistics over there. Next point that Dr. Ruth is all about that my sector should capitalize virtual meetings and then events to events which is borderless and digitized. Till now, we already pre-COVID time we talk about the big data, and big data is still relevant and it is a new thing. But then, because of that, the borderless and digitized events that will bring us the gold mine of data over there. Next point is that there should be we have to bring the change in incentive strategy, which definitely benefit to all the stakeholders directly over there. All the students or the aspirants those who want to join the mice industry, for them it is just a news shared by the Dr. Ruth that rather than the cancel of the events now the international associations they are postponing it. It will happen. Maybe it will take another time frame over there, but it will happen. Happening means it's again a opportunity for the job seekers also there, because MICE is an immortal force in tourism. And I'm especially thanks on the behalf of that Professor Kandapan. Every time is giving a different new words over there. So we MICE is a given over there. Thank you everyone, all the participants, all the students over there giving a continuous support to us. And with that, I'll conclude my summary. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Jeet, and that was very well compiled. We were talking about Fast 5, he came out with Lucky 7 also, so that's a very nice terminology. I think everybody is evolving over here. So all my teachers, my colleagues are evolving. I can see the only picture of Rupam, but he must be smiling with all these things that's going on over there. So everybody now switch on your cameras. We are going to have our digital selfie now. So we would want everybody to switch on their cameras so we can have a digital selfie. But I'm really happy. My teachers are evolving, my experts are evolving, my students are evolving, and this is something which I think most of us will cherish for the rest of our lives, that this is our contribution that we are giving the system, and I'm really happy about it. So
Agree with you.
everybody please switch on your cameras. Today we don't have Dr. Ramjeet with us. He had a meeting with his Vice Chancellor, so he could not be part of the meeting with us, but we have a strong team, a lot of people, and there is Rupam. So he's smiling.
Sir, he's there. He's there. Sir, Dr. Ramjeet is there.
He's there.
He's joined?
Yeah, he has joined.
Okay, good. So we'll start with the first one. Okay, that's one.
Hi, David.
So we move on to the next page. I think, yeah. Oh, Ramjit is there now. So everybody, please switch on your cameras. A lot of you haven't switched on your cameras. So we share this on our blog also, on our pages also. So everybody comes to know who all has attended and all that. Although your names are very clear. Okay, there we go.
Dr. Jasween is also there.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Jasween is there. Jaswinder is there from Punjab University.
Yeah.
Rajkumar is there from GND.
Jaswinder sir is there. Yeah.
We have a lot of people from Philippines attending the lecture today. So that's nice to have them around. Everybody, please switch on your cameras. The last page, Mohit Dhaiya, Jitendra Das. Okay. There we go. So our next lecture is going to be on Saturday now, folks. We'll be sending you the details of that. We have a professor from South Korea joining us for the next lecture on Saturday, coming Saturday. So it'll be a nice one. We have packed, whole May is packed for us. In fact, till June, our dates are blocked. So we have lots and lots of experts joining us. Take care, stay blessed, and stay safe. And thanks a lot to everyone, each one of you for joining us. Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Pariksha. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, Prof. Candy. See you.
Thank you. Thank you.